Hi, many thanks for visiting this Veterinary Business App website. I'm John Sheridan and I've been actively involved in the business of veterinary practice for most of my career, and that's a good many years. Can I ask you this question? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you judge the success of veterinary practice in your part of the world? I guess you give it a score of 8 or 9 at least. I recently had an opportunity to speak at the Joint SPIVS VPMA Congress here in the UK. There were hundreds of delegates, more than 40 lectures, workshops and seminars. There were speakers from around the world. There was a thriving commercial exhibition, lots of evidence of growing investment in veterinary practice. I sensed a feeling of excitement and an enthusiastic buzz from the delegates. And this was just one example of the hundreds of opportunities for CPD related to the science and the business of veterinary practice. It's true that the pet population has declined in the UK during the last 5 years, but consumer spending on pets rose 30% during the same period. On the other hand, if we look a little closer at practice employees, for example, the BVA has reported that 41% of graduates felt that their career had failed to match their expectations, and more than half of graduates during the last 8 years were seeking a change in work, with a growing proportion seeking a career outside practice. Near 400% increase in calls and emails to Vet Life Crisis Helpline in the last 4 years. And of particular concern are graduates in the first 5 to 10 years of practice who don't feel supported. And how about this opinion from Alan Robinson from Vet Dynamics? At the recent vet show in London, Alan said, most vets in practice work far too hard, for far too long, and for far too little return due to inefficiency, frustration, and poor profitability in their businesses. So could it be true that the practicing arm of the veterinary profession is not as successful as we fondly believed? Maybe we should start by defining what we mean by success. How do you measure success in veterinary practice? Is it all about professional standards, skills and service to clients? Is it all about healthy patients and animal welfare, a growing database of clients keen to seek and to pay for professional advice? Is it about the quality of the practice team? Is it about happy, motivated, enthusiastic staff with the right attitude? Is it about career opportunities? Or is it about market share, business size or growth? Is it about innovation, identification of a market niche? Is it about work-lifestyle balance? Is it about personal income? Or many other possible measures? Of course, it's about all of those and very many more, but every single one ultimately depends on the financial as well as the professional success of the business, and that means the ability of the practice to generate a healthy profit. And that's why practice benchmark services like the profitability survey from the Society of Practicing Veterinary Surgeons here in the UK and the worldwide benchmark service from Veterinary Business are such important initiatives to monitor the financial health of veterinary practices around the world. How do we define profit for benchmark purposes? The profit figure included in the financial accounts for sole traders, partnerships, limited liability partnerships, and a number of corporate structures is defined for tax liability purposes and is of little value for resource management purposes. EBITDA is commonly used for business valuation purposes, including veterinary practices, but defining EBITDA requires a detailed review of practice accounts, so it's not really appropriate for our purposes. So for veterinary practice benchmarking purposes, we define profit after interest, depreciation and amortization, that's the figure identified on your financial accounts, but also after the practice owner's remuneration for their clinical or management role, and an appropriate property charge if it's not otherwise included in the accounts. and for ready comparison purposes, the remuneration allocated to the owner is equivalent to the average paid to the vets employed in that particular practice. It's quick, it's easy, and it's free to submit your practice data to the SPIDS Profitability Survey if you practice here in the UK, or the Veterinary Business or Benchmark Service if you practice anywhere else in the English-speaking world. Just click the appropriate link underneath this screen. Your practice data will be regarded in the strictest of confidence, and you'll receive your personalised report normally within a couple of days. It will identify 5 unique numbers for your practice and compare them with the median and the upper and lower quartile numbers for all the other participating practices. It will allocate an overall descriptive profit score for your practice. And best of all, you'll be eligible to download a web-based application designed specifically to use those specific numbers to convert your so-so profit into one which will meet your personal, professional and financial aspirations. So watch out for my next video in a couple of days, in which we'll look much more closely at the financial performance of veterinary practices in the UK. We'll ask why it's not all good news. We'll consider the significance for the profession at large and for the owners and managers of individual practices. And you'll be able to download a free PDF which will explain in some detail how you can use the 5 key numbers in your benchmark report to build your successful practice into a business which meets your personal, professional and your financial aspirations. But first things first, look out the latest available financial accounts for your practice. Select the most appropriate benchmark link underneath this screen. Submit your practice data in the strictest of confidence. It's quick, it's easy and it's free. And watch out for the second video, which will arrive in your email box in the next few days. See you next time.